I still remember the sound of laughter echoing inside that private jet. Not happy laughter. The kind that makes you feel small. Invisible that day. I wasn't flying high. I was sinking. My uncle sat across from me, relaxed in his leather seat, swirling a glass like he owned the sky itself. He looked at me, smiled, and said, "So, this is all you've become?" I forced a smile, pretending it didn't hurt. But inside, something cracked. Growing up, he was always the rich one. The successful one. The one everyone admired. And I was just the girl who didn't quite make it. Or at least, that's what he thought. I had accepted his invitation thinking maybe, just maybe, this trip was his way of reconnecting. I didn't know it was an audience, and I didn't know I was the joke. As the jet climbed higher, his words cut deeper. He mocked my work, my choices, my life. But what I didn't know that day was that the truth was already flying toward us. And when it arrived, everything changed. The jet was smooth, quiet, expensive. Everything about it screamed power. My uncle leaned back and began listing his achievements, his companies, his connections, his money. Every sentence felt like a reminder of how far above me he believed he was. Then he laughed again and said, "You know, some people are meant to watch success, not touch it." That one shattered me. I stared out the window, watching clouds pass by, wondering when my life became something to laugh at. I had worked hard. I had failed. I had stood back up alone. But none of that mattered to him. What hurt most wasn't the mocking. It was the betrayal. He knew my struggles. He knew my silence came from survival, not weakness. And still, he chose to expose me. The flight crew stayed quiet. No one defended me. That's when I realized something painful. People respect power more than truth. But deep inside, I held on to one secret. One truth I never spoke about. Months earlier, I had been approached by investigators. Quiet people. Serious faces. They asked about my uncle's business deals. I didn't understand then why they were interested in me. Until they explained. Some of his biggest contracts had my fingerprints on them. Not as an assistant. Not as a favor. But as the original creator, the ideas. The systems. The strategies he took credit for. He had stolen them years ago when I trusted him. That betrayal broke me back then. But it also made me careful. I kept records, emails, files, proof. I never planned revenge. I just stayed ready. As the jet continued its path, my uncle raised his glass again. "To family," he said sarcastically. I didn't respond, because at that exact moment, the truth was landing. The pilot's voice came through the cabin, calm but firm. "Sir, we've been instructed to delay landing." My uncle frowned. "What does that mean?" Before anyone could answer, his phone rang. His smile disappeared. I watched his face change. As he listened, confident, confused, shaken, he hung up slowly. "What's wrong?" I asked quietly. For the first time that day, he looked at me without arrogance. "They're reviewing my contracts," he said. "All of them." I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I simply said, "Truth has a way of catching up." His eyes widened in that moment. He understood. Not because I told him, but because power had finally shifted by the time we landed. Everything he mocked me for was gone. His name was under investigation. His partners were distancing themselves. His empire dash exposed as we exited the jet. He walked behind me, silent, smaller, outside. He finally spoke. "You could have warned me." I turned and looked at him. "You taught me silence," I said. "I just learned how to use it." I walked away lighter than I had felt in years. Not because he fell, but because I stood. I didn't need revenge. I needed truth. And here's what I learned. People who mock you from high places forget one thing. The ground remembers everything you don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. When you carry truth with patience, it speaks louder than any jet ever could.